Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. I'm going to keep this short because I know nobody wants to really hear me talk, but whatever. I didn't feel like typing anything, so I decided to start doing this again. So there's two things that I wanted to mention that I've seen in the past couple of days. I know Joe had posted something about sports-specific training or focusing on one training, and then my buddy Mo Jackson, who I played with at Syracuse, was one of the fastest kids I ever met in my entire life, 4.2 40 speed, was talking about 7-on-7 drills. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet because, again, I know nobody likes to hear me talk. So, first and foremost, 7-on-7. Now, I would have to agree that 7-on-7 is nothing more than a drill. If you are a good coach, you never put any weight on how well a kid does on 7-on-7. Because again, there's a lot of elements that are missing when kids are participating in 7-on-7 drills that in real life situations it could affect how they play the game. To me, 7-on-7 is nothing more than a one-on-one type drill where you can work on your technique, maybe to get good looks on how to identify routes when as a defensive back, when kids are running routes and things like that, and you take away all the other elements so that you can focus on how things kind of progress, route progressions and things like that. But it's nothing more than that. I've seen kids go and be 7-on-7 All-Americans, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we got a stud on our hands, and then the season starts and that kid completely disappears because it's a lot different when you're running around with pads on and getting hit and things of that nature. So again, to me, 7-on-7 is nothing more than a drill where, from an offense perspective, you can work on running routes, seeing how, against different coverages. From a defensive back standpoint, so you can look at route progressions and how things work and how things look when you're playing certain coverages and things of that nature. So to me, it's nothing more than a drill. I don't put a lot of weight on players that do well in 7-on-7 because, again, a lot of the time that does not transition over to the actual game. So that's my opinion on 7-on-7, just my opinion. When we're talking about kids training for one sport or being one sport athletes, in short, I don't have a problem with it only because in this day and age, kids have a hell of a lot more access to their sport than I did when I was a kid growing up. When I was a kid, and just using football, for example, and you played football, once the season was over, you were done. You either went and played basketball or you went and did winter track, right? Today, it's a lot different because kids have access to a lot more than we did back then. There are facilities all over the place where kids can go and train. There are, 7-on-7 leagues, I guess you could say, where kids can, from a defensive back, wide receiver, quarterback perspective, even linebacker perspective, where kids can go and learn or, continue to learn how to, perfect their route running, their coverage skills and things of that nature. Again, there's a hell of a lot more access today than there was back in the day. Just like basketball, you could essentially play basketball all year round. When I was growing up, AAU was just starting to kind of catch steam. You could probably go to a couple of camps and things like that, but essentially you could pretty much play basketball year round and so forth and so on. I'm sure that's the case with all other types of sports out there. So again, I don't have a problem with it. Do I think it's important that younger kids play multiple sports? Yeah, I think it is because, again, you could be a kid that starts off who thinks that they're going to be a great basketball player and turn out to be a great football player or vice versa. So it's important that you kind of try different things to see, what you're really good at versus what you may not be as good as you think you are at. So again, these are just my opinions, nothing more, nothing less. I encourage all opinions, so all you, all the internet thugs out there, please don't, start hitting me up and telling me how crazy I am or how my opinion is completely off or whatever the case may be. But I encourage all opinions and things of that nature. So again, y'all have a blessed day, and I'll be back to y'all soon.